Yeah, what's good, y'all? So I decided to do a follow-up video to the last video that I posted, which was relative to Pisces and Virgos pulling it together. Basically talking about the energy, the opposing energy of Pisces and Virgo, right? So I was like, after listening to it again, I'm like, that's probably not cool to talk about psychic ability in contrast to intuition in the material world and psychic ability in the other world without giving a concrete example of or some type of, at least it's proof to me, but it might, you still might be skeptical after you hear what I'm about to say, but still in all, it'll be better, I felt, to give you some type of understanding of exactly what I mean. So I'm going to be giving a description of a dream that I had and was able to use the dream world or the sixth sense, the other world, to obtain information that was relative to the materialistic world. And very soon after at that, and explain how astrology pertains to these things. So you might have noticed that I've labeled this video going fishing as well. And this is going to be relative to Pisces energy. Pisces represented by the fish, things of that nature. And it's like still in the terminology of going fishing for information, going fishing for people, however the case may be. This is a quality I've learned of Pisces, to where the seeking of information, especially confidential information, information that is unknown, is a quality of Pisces. It's what the 12th house is largely about, because it's confidential information. It's the secrets that are yet to be known, right? Going into the unknown, into the depths of the realms, or whatever the case may be. Therefore, this video will be titled what it's titled, and consequently, I'll be renaming my tarot channel to Going Fishing, and I'll be doing tarot readings for Pisces people. Shout out to the person who brought this to my attention, pulled my coat, and made such a suggestion. So I filtered the information in a way that I could understand it better. Like, how could I, not do it exactly how it was presented to me, but it did make sense. It rung a bell in some type of way. So I'm like, oh, I get it. Boom, two and two together. That's what I'm going to rename my tarot channel, from Tarot and Tunes to Going Fishing. And this dream that I'm going to explain will show you even more of a reason why I'm removing the tunes from the Tarot and Tunes, and why I'm now changing it to Going Fishing. All right, so let's get into it, right? Long intro, but nonetheless, I want you to understand what we're going through. So if you're not interested at all, you can just click off of this and go check something else on YouTube. You know what I mean? But if you're still tapped in, let's go. So I had a dream on last Saturday, which was August 6th, okay? And in this dream, one of my comrades was in the dream. We was having a discussion, and it was relative to astrology, which kind of surprised me while I was in the dream, because we don't usually discuss this at all. Like, that's not what we do when we talk. You know what I mean? We talk about all types of other stuff under the sun, but we don't talk about astrology. I don't even know if they know if I know astrology, to be real with you. And this is a close friend of mine, you understand? But in a dream, nonetheless, we in a dream, and we're discussing astrology, and I'm caught mid-sentence in telling them how each day of the zodiac, each day of the week is significant for signs of the zodiac. And I was being specific about Saturn being a sign or a planet that ruled over their sign. Therefore, Saturdays was more inclined to go in favor of them, or whatever the case may be. All right. Hold on. Let me stop right there, because I want to go back a little bit, right? For people who've been following the channel, I want you to think about the video where I spoke about getting operated on by the gray aliens a few times, and sometimes like they'll leave like scratches on my ears, behind my ears, as like a signature to let me know that they've been there. But more than anything, I'd see them in my dreams or feel them in my dreams. They've done it more than once, and they've operated on things moreover related to my tooth or my teeth, like wisdom teeth and stuff like that, when I wasn't necessarily immediately able to get medical attention in the waking state, and in some instances not getting medical attention in this realm at all. and just living off of the operation that the Greys had done on me in my sleep. So if you haven't seen that dream video, I'd advise, I think I got a dream playlist. I advise to comb through it to see if you can find it if you're interested in this type of stuff. I see new subscribers are coming on. They are interested into the dream videos now, so they're starting to gain more traction. Look for that one, but if just in case you don't have the time or whatever, I'm just catch you up to speed. That's one of the dreams that I've had. All right. It's going to be important for the rest of this video. So now, boom. Let's get back to it. So I'm explaining to my dude about astrology and how Saturn significant to them because of the sign that they are. It rules over them, so they have more, I would say, prowess and authority, of course, because Saturn rules over authority, right? So, okay, boom. I'm explaining that. Now the dream switches to me being inside of my apartment, and there's mad girls in here. There's girls. Not only are these are not just any girls. These are girls that I grew up with, like from my childhood and shit. You know what I'm saying? So we in here, we talking, and everybody's kicking it, having a ball. And one of the girls that I grew up with, I'm looking through my closet, and she's with me. We looking through my closet, and she grabs a pair of jeans, shows it to me. I got these jeans too, a pair of Levi's. Shows them to me. Boom. I'm like, yeah, these are hard. I'm going to wear these today. And then I start looking for a shirt to wear. So I grab a shirt that I made myself. I custom made it myself. It's a tank top, olive green tank top that I made, right? So I grab it and I'm pulling and I'm thinking about putting this on. So then the girl who's with me, looking in the closet with me, she pulls the hanger and pulls up another tank top that I had made underneath the green one, which was the color pink. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at it, but I'm kind of startled because I don't recall making that shirt. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, this is hard too. It's pink, but it don't matter. Like the joint was hard. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, cool, that's what's up. So then they grab another pair of pants that I wore back in the days. Like it was one of my favorite pair of pants. It was a pair of Fat Farm jeans. I can't forget these jeans. So when I seen it, I was like, oh, these are my joints. So instead of wearing the Levi's, I was about to put those joints on. And I can't really know exactly why those jeans was in the dream yet, but I'm just explaining the dream as I go. You know, I might come back to it later. So I'm like, oh, okay. So boom, she kisses me on the cheek. Well, she tried to kiss me on the cheek. She ended up kissing me on the neck because she's that short. You know what I'm saying? So she was like very happy and very excited because I guess I was doing my thing, making my own clothes and stuff like that, whatever the case may be. So after that, I go to sleep in my apartment, and while I'm sleeping, the girls that's in my apartment, I could like overhear them. You know, like you faintly sleep. So I'm sleeping already, but I'm going to sleep. I'm asleep again in my dream. For those of you who know, you know. You know what I'm saying? You're in a dream inside of a dream, like an Inception. So I'm sleeping, and I overhear them washing my clothes. They're doing my clothes and stuff. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, that's cool. That's what's up. Like I love these chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get up and as I get up, you know, I'm preparing myself, I'm getting ready and stuff like that. I noticed, all right, so put it this way, a famous rapper comes up to me. They're in my apartment too. And they're like, yo, I want you to hear this song. And I'm like, yo, you want me to hear the song? And they're like, yeah, I want you to hear the song. So I'm like, all right, give me a minute. Let me go into the bathroom and, you know, get myself together, whatever the case may be. So I go into the bathroom. I look in the mirror. I go to grab my toothbrush. Now I'm going to grab my toothbrush, but there's a couple of toothbrushes on the sink, and I don't know exactly which one is mine. So I'm like stalling, you know what I'm saying? And the toothbrush that I'm looking at, it looked like an old toothbrush of mine. It was like one of those, the cheaper ones, really, like the cheaper plastic ones that I'm looking at. I'm like, but I'm skeptical. I'm like, I don't know, because so many people in my house. I know they spent the night in my house, and my dude is still in there. They got a couple of dudes, and then my dude I was telling about astrology, he's still in there and all that. I overhear all of them talking, but I'm like, yo, so many people spent the night in my house. I'm not sure whose toothbrush this is. There's other toothbrushes around here. I'm not brushing the teeth. I'm hesitating to brush my teeth. You know what I'm saying? Now, real quick. Brushing your teeth in a dream means that you're trying to restore or regain confidence or reinstate your confidence based upon things that you prepare for, things that you work on, and it's relative to appearance as well. So if you lack, or if I lacked anything in appearance wise, or if I'm concerned with how my image looks or how people look at me, you have dreams about brushing your teeth, right? So I didn't get to actually brush them, but it was going to happen if I didn't stall and look at the toothbrush to see what was going on or whatever the case may be. So there was a audio player on the sink. So I grabbed the audio player because that's what the rapper's music was inside of, this audio player. So I pressed play, I started listening to it. I'm like, all right. So now some of the lyrics, they're talking about their cousin who's in Brooklyn, which is where I reside at, right? Who's in, in Brooklyn, putting in work in the streets, this, that, and the third, X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, all right. So as those lyrics are playing, my vision switches to a Brooklyn street. The street is in Brownsville. I used to date a chick that lives over there too. So I see the rapper and their cousin on the block, and they're like singing the lyrics to this song. Perhaps it was a video, maybe it wasn't, but I can see his cousin and everything. So I'm like, all right. I was like, yo, I mess with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying it not because I necessarily like the lyrics, but I'm saying it because it was well put together and, they actually know how to rap. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I no longer care for like if dudes, especially nearing my age or around my age, are talking about this type of stuff no more when they rapping. You know what I mean? It was just a little bit too overboard. It was borderline drill music. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I won't listen to it or give it a chance or whatever the case may be, but me listening to drill music is just for like other reasons, like to see, or keep my ear to the street and like see what's going on in the streets. But 9 times out of 10, halfway through a song, I'm like cutting it off because it's just not my thing like that no more. But not to diss the younger generation, like I understand what it's like to be between 12 and 25. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not taking away nothing from those dudes. I know exactly what it's like when you're that age range. You don't care about what dudes who have taken laps around the sun as many as I have got to say about what you're doing music-wise or in the street. So I get it. So boom. I wake up. Dream is over. I wake up. Now, let me explain to you how this transpired after this, right? Now, that dream was on Saturday. I wake up. It's like maybe... I forget what time it was, but I wake up. I usually sleep late. So I wake up, boom. My dude calls me, who I had the dream about. Same day, on Saturday. He's like, yo, I'm coming down on such and such and such date. And to be exact, he said, I'm coming down on Tuesday and Wednesday. When are you going to be home? I said, I'm going to be home in the morning, Wednesday morning. Definitely. But you could still hit me up on Tuesday night. Let me know what's going on, X, Y, and Z. You could chill. You could spend the night, whatever the case may be, right? Spend the night. People spending the night at my house, including him in my dream, right? So, boom. He like, all right, bet. So now, some of you may be, now what I'm about to tell you, some of you may be against this. It's all up to you, though. You know what I'm saying? So, I could have turned them down and been like, no, you know what I'm saying? Or I could have been like, well, you could ask, you know what I'm saying? Or say it nicely or whatever the case may be. But I know that it was Saturday. And I know that Saturn rules over Saturday. I know that Saturn rules over this person's sign. I know that this was us. So what I'm getting at is this was an aura of authority being spoken to me. And Saturn deals with your relationships with authoritative figures. Now, some of you may be egotistical to the point where you don't care who authority, and I'm a Pisces, like we don't like authority, period. But later on, we get to understanding what it's all about. You understand? So I have that type of understanding to the point where I'm willing to surrender to listen to the authoritative voice because I know it can value me. It could be valuable. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't ignore that. I don't let my ego get in the way and say, well, let me check my calendar or whatever the case may be, especially after having this dream. I got the wisdom and all that. So I'm like, all right, say less. You know what I'm saying? I'll be here in the morning, yada, yada, yada. So Saturday was his day anyway. Saturn rules over his sign, X, Y, and Z. This is how the universe speaks to you. This is the point that I'm really putting emphasis on, is because this is how the universe speaks to you and how you can use astrology to track it. So this is what I'm talking about, psychic ability, being able to use the other realm, speaking to you, Virgos especially, or people with high aspect of Virgo energy. This is the information that will assist you in the earthly realm and how to make decisions based upon the intuition that you're having, so you don't have to panic, so you don't have to be surprised, so you don't have to suffer from anxiety, right? So no suffering going on with me. I'm not skeptical of none. I'm like, all right, come on, I'll be here. Boom. Now, mind you, although, and for those of you who want to know, like, if you got outer planets that rule over your signs, like Neptune rules over Pisces and stuff like that, just go to the traditional rulers, which is Mars for Scorpio, Neptune for Jupiter for Pisces, and what's the other one, y'all? For Aquarius is Saturn. So boom, we confirm that. Now, mind you, like I said, Wednesday is not my ruling planet. Like Mercury is not, how should I say this? As a Pisces, traditionally Jupiter is my ruling planet, right? However, my chart ruler is Mercury because I'm a Virgo ascendant. So on Wednesday, things fell in my favor. So on Saturday, things fell in his favor because he made the decision of when he was coming down, yada, 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 gave me the heads up, bam. Things worked in his favor. Now, as a Virgo ascendant, my chart ruler day is Wednesday. Things worked in my favor because I'm like, they ended up coming on Wednesday. They didn't come to me on Tuesday. They came to me on Wednesday, which is my chart ruling day. You understand? So when they arrived, everything went well. Now, remind you, it's not just because it's my chart ruler either. It's the day. You got to understand the things that's related to the days. So for them on Saturday, it's related to hard work, recognition, status, authoritative figures, right? So I'm having a conversation with an authoritative figure in my life, which they are, by the way. Like, they taught me mad stuff. We grew up together, all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's related to hard work. So basically, they was bringing me a resource that I could use to help with the fashion that I've been doing, right? So that's hard work. That's also relative to Saturn. Now, the clothing line that I've been working on, I've decided to call it my name, Chauncey Moore, right? So recognition, status, all of that's involved for the day of Saturday. So now when Wednesday comes along, short distance trips, which is a trip that the authoritative figure took to come see me. Driving cars, they took a vehicle to come see me. Messaging and information. We even had a conversation about mailing addresses and mail sent back and forth and stuff like that. All of this, I kid you not, all of this transpired. So they brought me the resource. They're teaching me stuff about, and mind you, it's a printer. I'm gonna give details so you can understand how the universe talks to you. So brought me a printer, right? Printer deals with what? Paper. Paper is used for what? Writing, messages, all mercurial stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, place the printer in there. Show me how to work a few things. Communication. But we're really doing more communicating about the business more than we're actually playing with the printer. But I'm telling them, like, yo, in my downtime, I'm gonna get with it. I'm gonna fix the printer up and do what I need to do. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So boom, that happens. That transpires on Wednesday. So now. Right, I had to look at my notes real quick. So boom, check this out. Right now, between the day of Saturday and Wednesday, I started getting this headache, y'all. So remember, I told you about the dream, about how the grades did operation on me. You know what I mean? Especially when it was relative to my tooth, to my teeth and stuff like that. So I believe I did a video about this before too as well. And if I hadn't did a video about this, I'm going to tell you the story now. So I had to go out of town to see my son, right? So I had to fish a rental out. I had to go to the rental spot, which I do often when I'm going places. But usually when I go to get these rentals, I go to places that are more nearby to me. But this one particular time, they made me go out of my way to get the rental, and it was frustrating to me because I'm like, man, I just want to do a hop, skip, and a jump. I usually can walk to the rental spots, but now they're like, yo, you got to come down here, downtown, and all that. So I'm just like, So mind you, about a day or two before I went out of town, I got work done on my tooth. So, and this is another lesson real quick. Stop eating sugar, y'all. Stop eating sugar because I brush sometimes 2 times a day for years. I've always kept my health and my tooth health in good shape, especially after the grays, operated on my tooth before and I had to get a wisdom tooth pulled. But it does not matter when it comes to sugar. When sugar is on your teeth, sugar will eat your teeth, yo. Point blank, period. So although all of the foods that I wanted to eat didn't have sugar in it, the sugar that pertained to the coffee, because I'm a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker too. started eating at my tooth. So I had to go to the dentist and get a tooth upholstered, I guess. There's a word for it, but I don't know what they call it or whatever the case may be. But they fixed the tooth, right? Boom, they fixed the tooth, and then but they found something else along the lines of another one of my teeth. So they gave me a thing, and they like, yo, you gotta come back, get it checked out, work on it, whatever the case may be. So I'm like, damn. Right, but my insurance covered it and everything, the tooth that I got fixed. But they was telling me about the other tooth. They was like, your insurance is not going to fully cover this. You're going to have to come out of pocket for this other tooth. So I'm like, damn. Now the price of it, I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, all right. So I'm not stressing about it. I got a trip to go out of town with. They gave me the medication for the pain and all that. I'm like, all right, I'm still going. So I'm on the road. I'm on the highway, tooth banging or whatever the case may be. I'm still out. Boom, going to see my son. Right. So I go, I see my son, I leave, I come back, and everything's cool, right? Everything's smooth. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I gotta go either pull some money out of my account to go get this tooth addressed, or, do something. You know what I'm saying? So, but when I get back from the trip, my tooth is fixed. Like, there's no more pain, there's no nothing. And I'm like, so now I'm thinking, I'm like, the aliens, must be the aliens. You know what I mean? The Greys came back again. Did they 1-2 on me? Like, I have absolutely no pain. So a person like me, I'm not going to take the immediate initiative to go get it fixed because I feel heaven sent. I feel like, I feel well protected. So I didn't, So, but before I skipped over a part. When I went to go get this rental to go see my son, it was right directly across the street from the Department of Labor. And it was stuck in my head. Like, this is how I'm talking about psychic downloads and glimpses and stuff like that. Like, this is how this Piscean shit works, yo. Like, I'm like stuck looking across the street at this Department of Labor building for like 3 minutes before I go get my car. So then I go into the place, it's a parking lot, I'm talking to the dude, go get my car. I come back out, I'm looking across the street at the Department of Labor, and I'm like, yo, this means something. Like, this has some type of significance. You understand? So I get the car, go to the rental, I come back, whatever the case may be. So, now mind you, the conversations that my son and I have, they're largely relative to fashion. Like, he's very interested in the fashion. He's always been, he draws up logos and designs and stuff like that. He told me he wanted to go to school for fashion and things of that nature. I told him I could get him into school. I eventually will get him into school. But to take his time to get his feet wet with being hands-on with fashion first, because he shouldn't have to jump headfirst into college just because. You understand what I'm saying? Because, financial matters and all that. We're having a real discussion. And he's like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So when I come back to New York or whatever the case may be, and I got an audio recording that I've been doing, and it's called The Day That I Met Satan. And it's relative to the fashion industry and the planet Saturn. Saturn, Satan, y'all know how I make that correlation, right? So I keep finding these pickers in the audio recording. I'm talking about how I keep finding these, the pricker things, the thread pickers. Like, I find them all over the place, everywhere I go on the ground, like everywhere. And to me, it's no coincidence. It's like all the time. So, I have all of this psychic phenomena going on to shorten it up, right? Of how Saturn is relative to Satan and how I'm almost being nudged to do fashion. So one day, this is to put more emphasis on what I mean, so you're not confused. My son comes up to New York, and he's like, Dad, what's going on? What you doing? And I'm like, I'm chilling. So I'm like, I selected a day. I'm like, okay, we're going to meet up on Sunday. Trying to experiment with astrology, like, that's my son. We're going to meet up on Sunday, yada. And this is going to be the most ideal day to meet up. So when we meet up, or we're about to meet up, I was shown something else, because they were somewhere in Midtown. So I stopped at the library on Midtown, and I go upstairs to, look at a couple of things, and lo and behold, this is when I first seen the first signal of this fashion thing. Lo and behold, I go out of all of the seats on the 5th floor of the library, I could have went to any floor. There's mad floors in there. I go to the 5th floor, which is the floor of business. I walk to the back, mad seats open available. I go to the back to this particular seat. It's like I'm led to this seat. I sit down. There's a thread picker right there. So I'm looking left, I'm looking right. Mind you, I got fashion going on. My thread picker just broke. Just broke a couple of days before I went to the library. So I'm looking left, I'm looking right. I grab it, put it right in my pocket. Boom, it's brand new too. It's healthy. I'm like, all right, sturdy. Boom, I'm set. So then I'm sitting there trying to wait for my son to call me, wait for my son to call me back, wait for my son to call me back. So I'm looking out the window and I noticed how high above the city I was sitting in this chair. And the windows in this library, they look out at the city. So this is like some high riser shit going on in my mind now. So it's like, you remember how in the Bible they say Satan took Jesus to the mountaintop to show him all of the kingdoms of earth and said, I'll let you have these if you worship me. And I'm not saying I sold my soul to the devil, y'all. Just listen to the story, because this is another thing that goes in regards to Christians or religious goers who are taking these figurative notions in the Bible so literal. So basically what Satan or Saturn is doing in this biblical scripture is showing them that Saturn rules over the crown chakra in astrology, and it shows you, it's all relative to Capricorn in astrology. Mountains, Capricorns, the goat that climbs to the mountaintop, achievement, recognition, and status, yada, 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 yada. Although Christ denied him, which was Christ's decision to do so, or denied it, should I say, which was his decision to do so in the story. I'm just making my points here, you know what I'm saying, of how Saturn speaks to you, how Satan speaks to you, however y'all want to frame it. You might want to ignore Satan or discard him from the astrological wheel and banish him to hell and this, that, and the third. That's up to you on your time. I'm just making my points here, right? So I'm thinking about this scripture while I'm in the library, and I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. I'm being shown the kingdom that I can possess. Should I stick this whole fashion thing out? Because remember, fashion was just a hobby for me, y'all. I did it to bring down some of my stress and anxiety and stuff on my downtime. Like, let me start crocheting. Let me start messing with these fabrics and making stuff. And that's how I got into fashion. You know what I'm saying? It was a hobby. And then suddenly people was just like, I'll buy that from you. I'll buy that from you. I'll buy that. And I was just like, oh shit. I love business. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. But I still wasn't both feet in. So then I'm paying more attention. 2 blocks over is the fashion industry. You know what I mean? It's Fashion Avenue in Midtown. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta go meet my son over on Fashion Avenue. It's about 8 blocks down, but it's still in the Fashion Avenue area. So I'm connecting the dots here. I'm like, all right, boom, my son finally calls. I go meet him. We meet up. Where we meet up at? We meet up at Macy's. Because I'm waiting for his word. You know what I'm saying? He like, Pops, come to Macy's. I'm at Macy's. I'm like, word. I'm still connecting dots. So my son is so much into fashion. He go in there, he buy like a $250 jacket. He can't help himself sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That's how much he loves fashion. So he goes, buys a jacket, comes downstairs. He like, yo, what's up? I'm like, I'm chilling. Boom. So we chill. We have our time together, or whatever the case may be. Boom. So we dip off. He goes his way, I go back my way. So now, let me go to my notes to see where I'm at now. Okay, yeah. So, let's get back to this whole thing about my toothache between Saturday and Tuesday before my dude came down here. Like, for the life of me, I had mad plans to go out, do these contractual jobs and stuff like that, get some more money on the side, right? But this headache had floored me. First, it was just a headache, and I'm just like, damn, man, why is my head pounding like this? I take an aspirin, and I hate taking aspirins, but it was to the point where I took an aspirin. I took another one. None of that shit was working. I'm like, what the fuck? So now I'm like, whenever I feel like this, I force myself to sleep. I go lay down and I sleep it off. So now I'm taking more sleep than usual. And I still ain't shake the headache off. I'm like, damn. Then it started going down to my tooth. And not even to the tooth that they said I would need surgery on and stuff like that eventually. I'm talking about the tooth that they fixed. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Tooth hurting. So now all of the decisions that I made to do other work, I put on the back burner. I decided not to do it. I'm like, yo, I'm not going out in this condition because I don't feel right. You know what I mean? Now, this is how Saturn, Satan, and healing in the body through paying attention, spiritual downloads and information, being conscious and using conscious reasoning in the material world, this is how all of this coincides with each other for you to better yourself. Because at first, remind y'all, on the old videos that I've made about the sun and consciousness being lit up in your eyes and stuff like that, and the crown chakra, I have to revise that now. Because I've seen something from Mr. Astrology when he was stating how in the chakra realm, Saturn is the crown chakra. And I was like, what? Nah, gotta be kidding me. Fuck out of here. No way. But I'm still open. I'm still learning, right? So I'm like, all right. So this is why when I came up with all of this lesson, I confirmed it like, yo, he's right. He's right. The sun is in the middle in the solar plex where it rules over in the body parts anyway. So it does make sense. But I'm like, the crown chakra is Saturn, huh? So now I'm putting two and two together. While you graduate, you put the what? You put the black box on top of your head, the cap and gown, right? The cap goes on the head. The black box represents Saturn. You feel me? So I'm like, yeah, it does make sense. So if you know about tarot, you know how the psychic ability is lit up in the crown chakra. It's an intuitive sense of knowing, right? And they even call it God knowing, like on that level. You understand what I'm saying? So religious goers and Christians included, think about what God you're actually paying attention to and praising when you read these scriptures and you praise the Bible. All right. And again, some people don't want to have these conversations with me. They praise Aries in the Bible, Taurus in the Bible, you name it. I can pinpoint it. You know what I mean? But that's another discussion for another time. So here I am with this headache. And, there was thoughts in my mind, like if my dude was really going to come or not. You know what I mean? People could tell you stuff like, yo, I'm going to look out for you. That's my word. I got you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come through on this day, this, that, and third. So in my mind, since I'm not moving much around, I'm just in my thoughts. I'm in my head. And I'm just like, damn, maybe he don't come. Or maybe I shouldn't even take the meeting because my head is pounding so bad. I won't even be able to fucking talk straight. You know what I'm saying? So boom. The headache lasts all the way till Tuesday morning. I wake up Tuesday morning, the headache is completely gone. My dude is like, yo, I'm out here, where you at? I'm like, I missed this call because I sleep late. You know what I'm saying? I said, yo, my bad. I should have told you that I'll wake up late. I told you I'd be here in the morning, but I won't be up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, I was tight. I was called you mad early. I'm like, yo, I know, my bad. Come through. So he's like, all right. He came through later on in the afternoon. When we had the meeting, everything's smooth, right? Headache completely gone. Toothache completely gone. So I'm thinking about the power of Saturn. I'm thinking about the crown chakra. I'm thinking about how, although Mars, which rules over the head, is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, which Saturn rules over, the inaction, right? The less action taken is what healed me. So it also shows how just because Mars is exalted in Capricorn doesn't mean that you should always be busy and always taking action. When it's time to heal, it's time to heal. You know what I mean? So I took heed to that and I'm like, okay, I understand. I'm understanding the lessons. Saturn also rules over lessons, life lessons. Understand how you be rewarded in life's lessons. So I'm paying attention to all of that. I'm like, okay, boom, cool. So boom, during this conversation, right? Check this shit out. During this conversation, my dude is like, yo, my little brother, he got their team out there, whatever the case may be. And, they work in different areas of life. So one of his mans is a dentist, or his wife runs the dentist, is a dentist and runs the dentist. So everybody getting their teeth fixed going through them. So I'm like, word. Now, it didn't even dawn on me in the immediate moment. Excuse me. But after he left and I was preparing his lesson, and I'm like, oh, shit. Putting two and two together because I'm still looking to get this tooth fixed. But not only that, my son needed his tooth fixed. So let me bring you up to speed with my son real quick, right? Now, boom, I lost my health insurance because I went, my son was like, yo, I need my tooth pulled out. He got his wisdom tooth coming in. First wisdom tooth. I'm like, all right, I know what that shit is like. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, why you ain't gonna get it pulled? He like, he don't got no health insurance. I'm like, hi. Anyway, right? I'm like, all right, I got you. Because he said he needed health insurance. I'm like, yo, I'm going to put you on my health insurance. So I call my health insurance. I'm like, yo, I want to put my son on my health insurance. Yada, yada, yada. They like, okay, boom, give me the information. Yada, yada. They like, does your son live with you? And I'm like, oh, shit. He doesn't really live with me, but, you know, he could come and go as much as he wanted to, but he doesn't live with me. So at first they like, okay, it's cool that he visits X, Y, and Z. We could utilize that. We could put him on there. So they put him on my health insurance. So I put him on the health insurance. I told him, yo, I'll put you on the health insurance. He went and got one bill paid that he had to get paid off, or whatever the case may be. So then, boom, a week later, a couple of weeks later, the insurance company calls me back, or they send something in the mail, and they like, yo, we got to take you off of your health insurance. So not only did they take my son off of health insurance, they took me off too. And I was like, for what? They was like, not fraud exactly, but something along the lines of fraud, because they like, we need you to send us a piece of mail that states that he resides with you. And in my head, I'm like, well, I don't have that. You know what I'm saying? I got his information and all that, but I don't have that, you know? So I'm calling up my son. I'm like, yo, son, if you want to get this wisdom tooth addressed too, just come up here. Just come home, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come home, B. Like, come home. Spend some time up here, whatever the case may be. You can go back and forth with your, however you want to do it. But just come home, get your residency. Let me get you situated at least at first, and then handle that, and you can go on about your business, right? So at first he like, yeah, Dad, okay. He don't come to do it. You know what I'm saying? Eventually. So they took me off of health insurance too. So I'm like, oh shit, now I lose my health insurance. So now I definitely got to pay out of pocket. Now he's struggling with a wisdom tooth. He got to pay out of pocket. So I'm telling him, I'm like, yo, I can't get it done for you no more because you ain't come do what I said to do. And he like, for real? I'm like, he like, how much it costs? I'm like, yo, it costs X, Y, and Z out here. He jumped up, left where he was, flew out of town. He went to California. He in Cali somewhere, brand new. So I'm like, yo, you got to start asking around and finding out what the prices of that is. And he like, yo, so we talking about how to get him money and all that to get his tooth done out there, whatever the case may be. So that brings me to what my dude was saying, like, yo, we got to connect. We got the hook up of where to go get teeth fixed and get the teeth done and all that. And these are people that we grew up with. These are people who we connected with for all of our lives. So me personally, I know this is included in my story, at least in my story. It might not be relative to everybody else's story, but it's relative to mine. It's like I have Uranus inside of my third house natally. So that means I'm not bound to my community. You know how sometimes you could go into your community and there'll be people from another borough, another county, another town, another city over that work in all of these places. And you're like, yo, why do people in my community don't actually work at these places and stuff? Like, why does it even work like that, right? So that's sometimes how I be feeling. Like I've always been rebellious like that when it comes to certain stuff, because Uranus is where you're rebellious at in your chart as well. So I'm not saying that I rebel against my community necessarily. Like I got love for my community and stuff like that. But it's just like I can confirm that I'm not bound to my community. Sometimes I go out of the town to even go food shopping. Like I won't even go to these restaurants or these supermarkets out here and stuff like that, because lo and behold, you'll find way more better deals in different towns and different cities and stuff like that, especially where less people go to do their shopping at, because the prices are lower there, because they want to attract more people to their stores for whatever reason in the economy. I'm just speaking from a business perspective, right? But I go find those deals for food and stuff like that, and to go take a whole trip somewhere else to go food shopping and all of that. So I do stuff like that. So I'm just reminiscing on when I went to get the first tooth done up. It was in my community. It's like 2 blocks away from here. And I was just like, yeah, I get it now. Like, you know, I don't have to go over there or do what they say in order to get this tooth fixed or whatever the case may be. I could just go through my peoples, because I'm opening up my consciousness. I'm using consciousness reasoning after receiving information from the dream world on what to do, how to do it, who to do it with. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no threat here looming over my head, which is relative to the Virgo intuition, right? I'm not anxious about this, like, oh my God, if if I don't hurry up and do this, I'm going to get another tooth pulled. Like, God is with me, or whatever you call God, you know what I'm saying, is with me to the point where this is what I've found out. Like, that headache came from the other realm. Like, let's put a headache on this motherfucker real quick. So he don't move, he don't run around, and we're going to show him something. We're going to show him a lesson. Like, we got you. You know what I'm saying? But listen to the message. Listen to what's being told to you, because it's for you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the same way that they can come operate on my head when I'm resting, when I'm dreaming and stuff like that, and fix things in my body, is basically the same way that they can do when I'm awake walking around. And that's what happened. And you might say, oh, Pisces, you're crazy, your mind's playing tricks on you, you're having illusions, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat that. I'll take that. But I'm telling you what I know. You know what I mean? So once that message was given to me about the dentist and, you know, connecting with my people and all that, you know, headache is gone. And it's just like, you know, get back to doing what it is that you do. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, I'm heavily more into the fashion now. But right now, I got Saturn inside of my... Put it this way. Saturn is 5 houses away from where it's natally, which means there's an inconjunct, which means there's going to be some friction, some things that need to be done. So it's like, it's irritating to do fashion as much as I would like to natally. You know what I'm saying? Because natally, I have Saturn in Virgo, and Virgo rules over manufacturing and retail. Feel me? So naturally, that's why I have a natural inclination to actually like doing fashion, because Saturn is in Virgo natally. But it's like right now it's in Aquarius. So let me extend on this conversation even more, right? Saturn being in Aquarius, Aquarius rules over astrology. Y'all know how long of a break I've been taking doing videos on this channel, right? And with it being in retrograde now, it's nudging at me. Listen, let's go back, take it back a little bit. Why are you hesitating so much with doing your astrology videos, knowing that you could be rounding 10,000 subscribers soon, which will enable you to put your Etsy photos and advertisements on your YouTube channel, which will highlight your fashion. Aha. So what are you being so stagnant about? Get back on it. Saturn is in Aquarius. It's not in Virgo. It's in Aquarius right now. Get with the program, boy. Pay attention. So I'm like, okay, I see. This is why I'm having a discussion with my dude in the dream, talking about astrology instead of fashion. He's looking out for my fashion interests, but I'm in the dream talking to him about astrology. This is just a reminder to myself, at least, that listen, you got help now, and that's a fantastic thing. However, don't get swallowed up in what you're natally comfortable with doing when the time is now for astrology. Put work back into astrology. Put work back into electronic stuff like coding and the website and stuff like that. Get back into that. So I'm like, oh, now mind you, what day was it? 11th on a Thursday. This is Pisces Day, y'all. For you Pisces watching, Thursday is Pisces Day. Jupiter rules over Thursday. So this girl hits me up. They like, yo, hey, how you doing? Missed you, this, that, and third. You know, just checking in with a dude. I'm like, all right, that's what's up. I miss you too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we chopping it up. They like, yo, you still doing music and fashion? They love when I do music and fashion. They love it. They just love it. So sometimes they'll just hit me up for that. Yo, make a new song. You know what I mean? Whatever. So I'm like, yo, you know what? I ain't been doing music much, but I've been doing much more fashion. They're like, okay, that's good. So remember, my dream, I'm talking with a rapper, yada, 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 yada. So I'm like, put 2 and 2 together with that connection. I'm like, okay, I see. I'm falling back on the rapping. I wasn't really interested in the rapping when I was in the dream, you know. And lo and behold, I've told y'all plenty of times, like, you know, I rap because I'm good. Like, I've been stopped rapping to be a rapper, like a famous rapper and all that. Like, that's just not in the cards for me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe behind the scenes, getting money like that, I'm cool with. I'm content with that. You know what I mean? But that's just not, my ego gets way too involved, and that's not the lane that I should be taking. Now, even more, right? This person, this individual is I'll put it this way, they're a hardcore religious goer. I'll keep it at that, right? And but lo and behold, I told them I wasn't doing music like that, and they said that's good. And I'm like, that's strange coming from someone who likes my music so much. But here nor there, I'm still putting the pieces together. So mind you, they real hardcore religious goer. Now, Saturn is in Aquarius. Aquarius rules over astrology. So the next day they hit me up again. Boom, they sent me a message relative to their religion. And usually this halfway pisses me off, right? Because me and them, we go at it sometimes. Like, we be sparring on this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be telling them, like, I don't hate you. They be like, yo, I don't hate you either. And I'm just like, yo, we just have differences when it comes to the comprehension of what your religion does and what my religion or my way of life, which is the occult life, which is astrology, operates. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't stand how people ignore astrology when astrology birthed all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So we go at it sometimes. So they sent me a little biblical note, but I smiled at it. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those ones that I was just like, it's still good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the Bible is totally fucked up or whatever. I just revealed that it's Christianity, right? But I'm not saying that. And I never have said that. You know what I'm saying? I just be upset about the ignorance of religious goers when it's totally blind faith and they just take everything literally instead of using the abstract ability to decode and decipher the Bible. So they sent me that message, and I thanked them for the message this and that. I'm like, all right, that's cool. But it also alerted me to get back to this astrology stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, because the moon at that time, which was, again, Thursday and Friday that just passed in August, the moon was in Aquarius. Now, not even that, right? The person that hit me up is a Virgo, right? Person hit me up as a Virgo. Not only that, come to find out, Virgo's 6th house under the solar dial, I mean the everyday horoscope, lands in Aquarius. So for this person to be such a hardcore religious goer, their house of health, which is the 6th house, resides in a house that's based and rooted in astrology. And I've been on this momentum as of late as explaining health. You know, Rated Benjamin is significantly related to well-being. And although we have these disputes and quarrels over these two things, their health resides in the thing that I practice. You know, so I made a note of that too, like, because there was like, keep doing your thing, keep shining. Now, shining to me is when the light is turned on, right? So that's where the sun is. That's where the concentration is. That's where the attention goes. So when I turn on the camera and I get in front of the camera, I'm usually doing this. I'm talking to y'all. I'm doing these astrology videos and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep shining, but I'm not doing the music. I'm not trying to do music videos like that no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing the astrology. So I'm like, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I am going to keep on shining. I'm going to start doing some more astrology videos. So boom, here we are. You know what I'm saying? I say that to say this. Here we are with the astrology video, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I know that was a bit scattered. It was a little all over the place, and I had to take you back this way and forward this way a couple of times. But I hope you stood with me. If you have any questions or you're confused at any time through that, just get in the comment section. I'll answer whatever it is that you need answered. Also, maybe I left something out, or maybe we need to just extend on it more. Just get in the comment section. I have no qualms about that. You know what I mean? But again, I did this video to put emphasis on this: the ability to obtain information from the other world, from the other realm. All right, from the subconscious mind, from the Pisces ether energy. You understand? And bringing it back to this material thing that we have going on here, and utilize it so you can relieve tension, you can relieve stress. That's what the message was when the Virgo sent me to. It says, today God is telling you you're going to be less stressed and more blessed. And this is what I mean: when you're able to obtain otherworldly information and bring it into this realm, you feel way more confident about what it is that you're doing. And again, back to the toothbrush, brushing the teeth and all that, reinstating confidence, thinking about your appearance, you know what I'm saying? That also has a lot to do with turning on the camera, getting in front of the camera, doing these videos. I don't be sprucing myself up. You see, I'm in a robe right now, but I do got a little I did line up the beard and, stuff like that. So it all makes sense. It's pretty much what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But this relieves stress. This relieves tension. This lets you know that you're guided and you have all types of spiritual protection around you. You know what I mean? And hopefully maybe this will take such a so much off of the bad stigma, again, related to Saturn and Satan and all of this. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, I've made other videos just recently about how Satan or Saturn rules the south of the region, right? Relative to hell and burning in hell, the Lake of Fire series that I just put out. But at the same time, think about this. And for those of you who are versed in tarot and stuff like that, get in the comment section too, or astrology, get in the comment section too, because, for Saturn to rule over the crown chakra, what does that tell you? Even if it says, Satan rules over this world, what do you think they mean when they say this world? To me, it means the material realm, or at least the one that we all wake up in. But aren't we dealing with different dimensions and stuff like that now, y'all? Aquarius age, or maybe y'all not hip to that stuff yet. And let me not even downplay y'all like that, because if y'all subscribe to me, y'all tapping in and stuff like that. So I ain't even gonna try to play y'all like that. So just think about that though. Like we tapping into different dimensions and stuff now. We not just here. You know what I'm saying? So all of the Pisces stuff that was frowned on and called crazy before is now starting to make a whole lot more sense. And I told you this would happen when the ages shifted. Pisces age produced a lot of strong Aries characteristics. The warlords, the corporate executives that lead the corporations, as entrepreneurs, a whole lot of Aries stuff. But now that the Aquarius age is here, you're going to see more magicians. You're going to see more spooky stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see more angels and demons. You might see things in your room that you just seen, and you're like, that shouldn't have just been there. Or like, did anybody else see that? And you might not want to talk to anybody about it. You know what I mean? You're going to see more. That might have freaked you out a bit, right? But how can I put it? So you might see, all right, so you see like these new 3D billboards that's like coming out on Times Square and stuff like that, when they got Darth Vader opening up this thing and they're like reaching out with it, these holographic type images and stuff like that. What do you think that is? That's energy coming through portals to reach out, to touch, to interact. You're gonna start seeing a whole lot more of this. You think Hollywood has something? Watch what you're gonna see now. You're gonna see so many independent filmmakers making their films based upon what their beliefs are and the phenomena that they've experienced or that they're dreaming and conjuring up. Pisces energy is gonna get turned. Because we're in an Aquarius age, and whatever age we're in produces more of the age that it left. I'm telling you. Alright, y'all. I'm going to let y'all go. I ain't dragging this no more. I'll be back with another one before you know it.